In the world today, there are three types of motivation for our actions. One to help ourselves.
Former Philippines First Lady Imelda Marcos took tax money from people who could barely afford food and then used it to buy lavish parties. This yacht and thousands of shoes. She needed them, she said, because she had to change clothes a lot.
One to help those in need.
I just want to give you a reason to smile today.
Oh, thank you.
Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
I just want to say, I know life can get stressful, but I hope this makes you happy.
Oh, thank you.
You have a beautiful day, okay?
And one that helps us work together for a subordinate goal. And there are two ways that we try and shape behavior. Rewards.
At the end of every month, we hold a payout event where all the kids who have gotten all C's and above receive $50 in cash. In addition, those who qualify are also eligible for a lottery where they can win $500.
And punishments.
We're among a group of 15 who stopped a 25-year-old black man last Saturday night, then beat him, kicked him, and clubbed him.
The question is, do rewards sugar sweets? Oh,
Go ahead.
punishments? Is it different responses on individuals? And which factor motivates us the most? Helping ourselves, helping others, or working towards a subordinate goal?
Before we go about actually answering some of these questions, we have to first define a few terms. A reward is increasing the likelihood of a certain behavior and further shaping the participants to act in a certain way, which is different from a punishment, which is decreasing the likelihood of a certain behavior and further shaping the participants to act in a certain way. Then there's intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, which basically is whether the participants are motivated by internal or external means. Next is peer pressure, the influence that peers have on their friends. Like in this experiment, the participants are going to be pressured into answering some questions right because they have a partner that's involved. And finally, there's subordinate goals, or superordinate goals, I should say, and these are common goals that individuals work together to achieve for the benefit of the group. Now, concerning some of the research that we did, we had about 5 articles that we went through that helped us with the experiment. The first article is about Sheriff's experiment and superordinate goals, and it explains how 2 or more people or groups of people will have a greater incentive to work together that's necessary for them to achieve a common goal. Our next article talks about motivation, and it further pertains to superordinate goals. It incorporates and expands upon the ideas of motivation through Maslow's perspective with the hierarchy of needs. The hierarchy of needs explains the drives we have, including items we may want or need, and the psychological and emotional states that we strive to achieve. Then the next article is about rewards and punishment, and this expands upon research that shows that avoiding punishment is actually more influential to human behavior than obtaining a reward. Our next article once again talks about rewards and punishments, and it elaborates on the fact that a punishment should correlate to how bad the initial behavior was. So if a person did very bad, they should get a very harsh punishment. Our last article is just a site that provided a lot of useful information and background knowledge in the fields of intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, rewards versus punishments, superordinate goals, and peer pressure, which all relate to our experiment in various ways. Now that the boring part's over, we can finally get back to the fun stuff.
The The experiment is meant to test reinforcement, punishment, memory, and superordinate goals. First took 2 students from the same grade and randomly paired them together. Then we asked them a set of 10 questions based on 6 different short stories.
Invaded Mexico, Spanish conquistador Hernando Cortez first saw popcorn when he met the Aztec in glowing shades. They often appear to be moving. Auroras often occur as a result of geomagnetic storm. The geomagnetic storm is the temporary disturbance.
We're gonna go down a 4th one, so don't freak out, man. Okay, now we're going to the 5th one.
I'll do that next one.
Totally good. I would let you have something. Yeah.
You have a great day.
For the first story, if a participant answered 6 or more correct, they received a reward of candy.
I was actually trying to get the
In the second story, if the participant answered less than 6 correct, they would be sprayed in the face.
refreshing.
In the third story, if the person answers more than 6 correct, their partner gets the candy.
Oh, you got a 6. All right, solid.
Can I just not get sprayed in the face?
In the fourth story, if the participant answers less than 6 correct, their partner gets the punishment. In the fifth story, the partners are working together, where if together answer more than 6 correct, they both get the candy.
Begin to develop a way to share information.
Oh, was that too fast?
In the final story, if they both get less than 6 correct, they both get the punishment.
Ready? And I got sprayed in the face. Okay.
Punishment and reward were tested separately. If a subject got, let's say, more than 6 correct on a punishment trial, they wouldn't get a reward, they would just be avoiding a punishment. Also, if a subject got less than 6 correct on a reward trial, they wouldn't get the punishment, they would just not receive the reward. The findings show us that students at Walter Payton College Prep are the most motivated when the one who benefits is themselves, less motivated when the one who benefits is somebody else, and the least motivated when they have to work with someone towards a superordinate goal.
These two graphs kind of characterize the data that we got. The y-axis is the mean number of questions answered correctly, and you can clearly see that when the reward or a punishment that was being avoided was directly related to oneself, it's much greater than when concerning a partner or working together for a subordinate goal. Also, we see that reward is a much greater motivator than punishment.
For example, say you have $5 and an aid group wants you to give that $5 to some kid in Africa. If the aid group gives you a reward, let's say some candy for your aid, you're more likely to give that $5 to that child in Africa. However, there were some biases that were present. During the experiment, some people may have interacted with each other when they weren't supposed to.
What?
Eat less.
Less?
Yeah. Or the sentence D, the passage does not say.
I've skipped 2 questions.
Also, the stories were all different. So some subjects with different specialties, I could say, may find some of them easier than others. Finally, as the experiment went on, some of the subjects might have been warmed up to answering questions, so they may have done better on the last parts than on the first parts. Because these biases were present, replication of the experiment should be done to validate the results. mean you're not gonna spray anything, or what? Am I good? Come on, I'm trying to do my science thing. Do it.
Eat the candy.